Do not judge, or you too will be judged in the same way. That's what Jesus says. And if you're like me, what you're thinking right now is this: finally, someone is going to tell those people to stop judging. And I forget, Jesus is talking to me too. How often do we judge? Even judging those who are judging. We have this idea of condemnation engineering, that somehow if we can engineer enough condemnation against someone else, it's going to make everything right. Except it doesn't. We have this idea that if we just give someone a good talking to, if we just let them know just how wrong they are, that's going to fix everything. But what Jesus tells us is it's kind of like having sawdust in someone else's eye and saying, let me help get that sawdust out. Well, we've got this big old plank sticking out of our own eye. The truth is, that kind of judgment doesn't work. We have to acknowledge that we have this plank, and we have to allow Jesus to remove the plank from our eye before we're going to be any good in this world, trying to deal with the problems that we see around us. See, we have this idea that if we can just come alongside of someone and convince them how wrong they are, that that's going to fix something. And it almost seems to work when we give someone a talking to, doesn't it? It almost seems that in some cases, they'll just shrivel up into a ball and just accept whatever condemnation we throw at them. They might shrivel up under the force of our judgment and say, oh, you're right, I am what you say I am. And they might even change out of fear. Or the opposite happens. And we say, oh, they showed their true colors. Because when we attacked them, they defended themselves. But I'm not sure that's really showing their true colors. It's simply defending themselves because we attacked them. Judgment doesn't do what we think it does. And Jesus says, don't judge or you'll be judged in the same way. Here's why judging doesn't work. Think of the example that I think most of us have seen, the sending of a nasty letter when we are upset with someone. Most of us have either sent one or received one or know someone who sent or received one or all three, right? And there's this idea, this myth that nasty letter is going to fix something. Someone came up to me, and it was a friend of mine, and they said, oh, that person was so wrong, so I sent them a nasty. They were proud of it. But here's the thing, that never works. It never actually creates change. Not in a meaningful way. All it does is hurt the other person and provoke them to dig in their heels more. See, judging fails because it actually doesn't flow from a heart of love. Mother Teresa said it this way: if you judge someone, you have no time to love them. And if someone doesn't sense that you love them, they're not going to receive anything you have to say. Even if we're right about our judgment, it shortcuts the whole change process. The first step in a change process is for the person to recognize that there's a problem. And if we force that on them, it prevents them from being the one to recognize that something's wrong.